Hi, I'm Representative Alana Rubel, the House Democratic leader here at the State House, filling you in on what has been happening in your state government this week. So, few things in the hopper. As you probably saw, House Bill 436, the giant tax cut bill for the wealthy, the reverse Robin Hood bill, has passed the Senate and is on its way to the governor, which is very disappointing news. But our Democrats put up a big fight, pushing instead for grocery tax relief on the floor. Other things that are happening, there's a little mini development happening on property taxes. Last year, the House passed this House Bill 389 that they called property tax relief, but actually created more problems than it solved. One of the things that it did was kick nearly 2,000 low-income seniors off of the property tax assistance program. It said that if your home is worth more than 125% of median values in your area, then you lose property tax assistance regardless of how low your income is. This would hit, there were some senior citizens who bought their home for maybe $30,000, 40 years ago, but through no fault of their own, their house is appreciated and is now worth $600,000, and so they would lose all property tax assistance. There are two rival bills right now to try to partially fix the mistake that the legislature made last year. One is Senate Bill 1241 that would open up that property tax relief to people whose homes are up to 200% of the median value in the area. So that would bring in a lot of the low-income seniors who have been kicked off. There's one in the House, a House Bill 481, that would open that property tax assistance back up to people whose homes are worth 150% of home values in the area. So the Senate one is a little bit more generous to our low-income seniors. It would allow more of them to be brought back into the assistance program. So that's the one that we're really hoping to see advance. But I guess either one would at least be a modest fix to what the legislature did last year. Over Democrats screaming objections, we all voted against 389. Some other things that are happening, the bill you've probably heard about, House Bill 442, that strips the power away from cities to regulate fees, including application fees, unfortunately passed the House Committee on Straight Party Lines and is on its way to the floor. And actually, this would take power away from cities, not just on rental fees, but on application fees, but on any fees pertaining to rentals. So if there are abusive fee practices relating to late fees or pet fees or any kind of fees at all, it would strip the power of cities to be able to regulate those abusive practices. From a local control perspective and a renter protection perspective, we think this bill is bad news and will be opposing it. Other things that happened, we're starting to see Crazy Town hit the floor. There was what should have been a very routine bill on the annual bill we pass every year to conform with changes in the federal tax code. Ran into crazy debate on the floor when a number of those on the far right said we should not conform with the federal tax code because the federal tax code acknowledges same-sex marriage. So it was really unfortunate to see in the year 2022, we're still seeing legislators fighting tooth and nail against recognizing same-sex marriage for tax purposes. It did pass, but with a lot more no votes than we would have liked to see. So those are some of the headlines of what's happening in your state house. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Good afternoon. This is Michelle Stennett, the Democratic leader in the Idaho State Senate, and we have finished the week out and come to you about what actions have taken. The governor today, I believe, signed the income tax bill that passed the House and the Senate. And we are hoping that before the session ends that we do tackle all that you had asked us to do, which was meaningful property tax relief, grocery tax relief, making sure that our schools are adequately funded, and many other services, emergency services that benefit and impact all Idahoans before we leave this legislative session. As it pertains to property tax relief, we did increase the assistance program for our seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities who fell through the cracks because of a bill that we passed last year that took thousands of people off of the rules for being given assistance as it pertains to their property taxes. We increased it from 125 to 200, and hopefully that will make sure that more of those that are in need in those groups are better assisted by their property tax program. And then also, we are very happy to say that both the House and the Senate passed the teacher insurance program. You may have heard us say that the only state employees that had not been subsidized by the state for their insurance were teachers. And given all that they are up against now and the expense of health insurance, we are pleased that we've passed a program that optionally allows school districts to give those benefits to teachers, which we know will be greatly needed for many of them. And we're pleased to see that the legislature is in agreement on that issue. We will come back to you next week with more information, and thank you so much for following and participating in the political process.